Stephanie from Oh You're Lovely, and it's another Meet the Flower. You guys, welcome back to another tutorial. It's not a tutorial, it's a introduction to one of the over 150 different wood style flowers that we carry in the shop, and this is an OG. This is one of the flowers that we started with. I can't remember how many we offered from the get-go. It was under 50 for sure. But this one is a lovely flower that is still very much a staple for many wood florist artists, and that is the poppy. Well, what was going on? What is that? I don't know. I really don't know. The poppy. So right now I have the 3-inch, the 2-inch. We also have a 1.5 inch. We carry a size assortment. So if you want a little bit of all of the different sizes, you can get 50 flowers. That has a range of all of the different sizes we currently offer in this style flower. You can also find little bitty, itty bitty baby poppies in our mini mix and potentially in the munchkin mix as well. So those get really itty bitty. So there are the flowers. We're gonna play around with these. The poppy is a super versatile flower. You can use it as a poppy. You can use it to look like an anemone. That's what we did years ago from the get-go until other flowers came around that made a little bit more sense for an anemone, but I still use these pretty often as an anemone. The other thing I really love about this particular flower, if you wanna add a little bling to your arrangement or bouquet, this bottom base is relatively flat and makes it perfect to slide in a little pin or a little flat back pearl or some sort of gemstones right in the center. Pop in there, you've got some bling. Oh, I love it so much. So let's get to dyeing a few of these, shall we? First things first, let's do the anemone because that is one of the simplest ones you can do. So what I like to do is spray it down. I just use water for this. I don't do water and glycerin. I don't find it necessary. All I wanna do is to be able to open up my flower a little bit more. I would not recommend trying to adjust the flower when it's dry. The water helps soften the petals even more and make them a little bit more flexible. Then you have less cracking and tearing. It does still happen on occasion, and this part you can be super precise with if you want, or you can be a little messy. And it's gonna depend too on the brush you're using. But this, I can't tell you how simple this is. The black that I'm using is Noir from our paint line. And there is some water pooling at the bottom, so I'm aware of that. And so I'm gonna go in a little bit more gentle in there because I don't want it to kind of go all the way up my flower. But then I remind myself too, if you've ever looked at an actual anemone, the pollen does spread. So it's okay if there's a little bit of black kind of hugging those bottom petals. There, how simple. We already have an anemone. All right, on to the next. Now for this one, I want to kind of create an orange poppy. So what I'm gonna do, instead of painting the center black first, we're gonna try this instead. This, I believe, was Terracotta by Deco Art Americana, but don't hold me to that. The bottle is already in the garbage, so I used it all up and I don't know what color it is. Well, we're gonna dip dye it, so I like to twirl these around in a circle. I'm not super worried about getting that center completely covered because we're gonna go in with black in 2 seconds. So now that it's wet with paint, you can start moving the petals around, and I like to have a paintbrush on hand to get any spots that there's a little bit of the raw sola showing up. Now that that's pretty flattened, which we'll fluff it back to its original shape in just a minute, we're gonna go in with our black. I usually start in the center and move my way out. That black, I went in straight black, no watered down or anything like that. And then, while it's still wet from the paint, we're gonna kind of fluff it back into its original shape so it's not so flat, and bring it back to its kind of 3D So there is our orange poppy. I've already dip dyed this particular pink flower, and we're gonna just experiment real quick. We're gonna go in and try to make the center yellow. It's gonna turn more orangey than yellow just because this paint is still wet, but you could wait until it's completely dry and then go in with your secondary color. Now the pink color, I can't tell you the color store or the combination because it's a mixture of a whole bunch of different paints. I was doing I know that it has our cherry red dye, and it also has our white rabbit, but then there's also a purple in there and something else, a magenta maybe. I was doing an experiment with a whole bunch of other things, and I just kept putting more paint into one particular container, and that's the color that came out. So this one's got more of a peachy vibe to it. So if you wanted it to be strict yellow, you could either wait until this flower is completely dry and then go in with a straight paint in the center. I don't mind doing straight paint on centers like this because it doesn't matter that they're gonna be quote unquote brittle or hard because there's nothing to break off on that. It's like a button. But what you can do otherwise, I need to clean my hand before I touch a perfectly cream colored flower that I don't want to get pink or orange on. We're gonna go in just the center, and this is gonna kind of create almost like a daisy effect. I don't know what it is about a cream flower with a yellow center. It just makes my heart go pitter patter. I mean, so stinking simple. Let's try something, shall we? We're gonna put this in, same like we did the other one, but then we're gonna dip dye it another color. But instead of going entirely dip dyeing it all the way, we're gonna put it on its side like this, and we're gonna twist around in the paint. Just on the tips of the petal. And then on the back, we're gonna clean that up a little bit. All right, you guys, let's see if we can do it. There you have it. The lovely, wonderful poppy in a couple different ways that you can play around and dye these flowers. Again, they can work as a poppy, and an anemone, just a beautiful open flower with a nice little button center. The combinations of ways to dye this is absolutely endless. I love it so stinking much. I hope you do too. Go check out the poppy. Well, yeah, go check it out. But before you do, let me give you something. Go over to ohyourlovely.com, look at the poppy and the other 149 plus wood flowers that we carry over there, as well as greenery, craft supplies, all the good stuff. But before you go over there, let me give you something. Use the code YouTube30 to get 30% off your first order. All right, you guys. That's another Meet the Flower. I hope you enjoyed it. If there is another flower that you would like to meet that we have not introduced yet over here on YouTube, make sure to drop it down in the comments and I can be a matchmaker for you. I think I can. All right, you guys, I will see you next week for another tutorial or Meet the Flower, who knows? We're all about surprises around here. But we do post every single Wednesday a tutorial of sorts, so make sure to check those out. And if you're enjoying them, make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that bell so you're notified every time a new video goes live. We'll see you next week. I'm Stephanie from Oh You're Lovely, and you, my friends, are absolutely lovely. Bye, guys.